Following the implosion of the revived G4, hosts Adam Sessler and Froskurinn have both left gaming punditry behind. But rather than conclude their respective runs by thanking their peers and fans, they both did so by dropping some truth bombs at their peers and fans. Truth in this case referring to their truth. Either way, I'm glad they did, because there are important lessons to take away from this. In this editorial, I will begin by going through what Adam Sessler did, follow that up with what Froskurinn said, and finally, conclude with which lessons everyone should take away from this. Adam Sessler was one of the original G4 hosts, and one of those brought back for the revival. By the time of his G4 return, it was already well known that he had developed a severe case of TDS in the intervening years, more or less wishing death upon anyone with conservative leanings, up to and including his own family members. What he only confirmed in the most recent weeks, though, is that he always, even during the original G4 run, hated his own viewers and audience. Through a series of tweets and even podcast appearances, he has now let it be known that he was never a gamer himself, and more than that, he always held gamers beneath contempt. The series of tweets expressing these views were captured by Bounding into Comics, and if anyone wonders why he would go on such a tirade now, Sessler claims that he's now semi-retired, has quit games and entertainment because he founded and sold an AI company to Reddit. Which translates to that he no longer needs whichever audience still followed him, so it was time to tell them, in not so many words, so long suckers. So, if you ever at any point in time took any kind of enjoyment of any content associated with Adam Sessler, know that behind the smile on screen, he always despised you and looked down upon you. Adam Sessler never appreciated the fans or the audience, and now when he no longer needs them, he let that audience know, burning whatever bridges that still might have been left standing in the process. However, he did not throw his co-workers, past or present, under the bus. Someone who did that, though, was Froskurinn. While Adam Sessler directed his ire at the audience, Frosk directed hers at her peers in the industry. Following her publicity stunt, which we have previously reported was planned and coordinated with a female producer but without the approval of the network executives, Frosk no doubt expected an outpouring of support from her peers, both in front of and behind the cameras. But despite Sessler's seal clapping and other disingenuous cheers on set, no further support was forthcoming. Frosk and her partner in crime, that female producer, may have thought that they would strike at the heart of the patriarchy and gain a ton of sympathetic viewers in the process. But in reality, all they did was expose all the revived G4 hosts and their reviews as disingenuous, carefully scripted corporate content. And in the process, they turned every potential viewer into a brand detractor, rooting for the revived G4 to fail. Maybe Frosk and that producer was so out of touch that they didn't see this happening, but everyone else working there did. Because outside of a generic statement of support on Twitter, everyone walked in big circles around her, hoping not to be caught in the crossfire of everything hurled at her. Frosk obviously noticed this distinct lack of support, and whether she was told or figured it out for herself, it evidently became clear to her that she had no credibility left and no future prospects within gaming punditry, because who would hire her after that? On January 19th then, Plan B must have been signed and gone through, because that's when she tweeted her farewell message, which was clearly directed at her peers in the industry. I've been angry for a long time with my peers for not using their power and voice to stand up for others in the industry. Had to come to some hard terms that people who I'd known for years, who I thought were good friends, just weren't. Devastated me for a long time. Followed by, anyway, I'm leaving the industry, found new work elsewhere. This industry is really messed up. In no small part because of people like you. And what happened to me and plenty of others wasn't fair. And it could have been avoided if we all stood up together. You let me down, but I get why. Well, that would be because unlike her peers might still have a career. So why would they sacrifice theirs by aligning themselves with her? Cheers and good luck. So that's Frosk burning bridges to corporate gaming punditry right there. Don't know where else she found a job, and I have to admit I'm a bit surprised. Because her next employer just hired a drama queen who will bring them nothing but liability and blame shifting, and who has a proven track record of throwing former employers and colleagues under the bus at that, but on their own heads be it. Still, even if Frosk's new employer didn't learn anything here, there are some lessons to take away from this. For the last few years, the corporate entertainment media complex has accused fans of being toxic. And for as long, I have maintained that no, fans are passionate. If anything, it is the creators and their enablers who are toxic. Examples of such enablers are corporate pundits, and that is what Adam Sessler and Frosk were. Corporate pundits, whose job description included enabling game developers, however good, bad, or outright toxic their product. Adam Sessler emerged on the scene before the rise of independent creators on YouTube and Twitch, and this lack of alternatives gave Sessler an audience. He was never genuine, but if he only acted professional and remained quiet even to this day, he might have had a legacy nonetheless. But the moment it was clear he no longer needed an audience to exploit, the mask was dropped and the full extent of his toxicity was revealed. In the case of Frosk, she revealed hers long time ago, so little more needs to be said about that. Other than that she too rose to prominence within a corporate environment. Without that corporate environment, neither she nor Adam Sessler would have been able to sustain any kind of long-term success, let alone audience. That brings us to why the G4 revival was always going to fail, and that is indeed the real lesson here. In a world where independent content creators who genuinely care dominate the scene, there is no room for manufactured corporate product. That is true for corporate punditry across the entire width of the entertainment media complex, well beyond the realm of gaming. Gaming was just patient zero. We're seeing the same trend in both film commentary, political commentary, and beyond. This is a trend I don't mind, and if anything, I think the implosion of G4 may have contributed towards speeding it up. But what about you? Were you surprised at the bombs Sessler and Frosk dropped on their way out of the door? Or do you wonder how many in the establishment media complex feel the same about their audience? Let me know in the comments.